Okay, for this video, we're going to be graphing ax squared plus q. We're going to do what's known as a vertical translation. A vertical translation. Now, here's the joke of the day. Where are mathematicians buried? The symmetry, the symmetry. Okay, again, we're going to use this GeoGebra later on. Please do the graphs by hand and don't just cut and paste the graph from GeoGebra. Okay, do it by hand. I want to see that you can do it by hand. And then you can check all your work using GeoGebra by just typing it in. I want to make sure you understand the concepts by doing it by hand. Okay, first, graphing y equals ax squared plus q. So if you add or subtract a number at the end here, right? If you add or subtract the number in, it causes the graph to either go up or down. The vertex in this case will be located at Q. Okay. Example, y equals 2x squared plus 3. Well, the vertex will be located by 3. It'll actually move up by 3. The whole graph will move up by 3. Okay. Here's another one, y equals negative x squared. So don't worry about the a in the front. We've already talked about that. It's the same thing as before. The number, the negative 5. So the vertex will now be located at negative 5 on the y-axis. Okay, so it'll move up by 5. And we'll show you some examples. You will still use the a as before. So just like before, here you'll still use a to graph. A defines the shape. A is the shape of the graph. We will look at transformations now. So over here, we're going to look at transformations when the q at the end is added. So we're calling the letter at the end q. So let's look at the two possibilities. There are two possible transformations. So when q is positive, so when this number at the end is positive, like positive 3, so when q is positive, vertical translation of q up. So if it's like a 3, a positive 3, there's a vertical translation of 3 up. Now, when the q is negative, so when this number at the end here is negative, there's a vertical translation of q down. So example here, it goes down by 5. See, minus 5, there's a vertical translation of 5 down. And we're going to just jump into these questions right away. So we got negative 10 at the end. Let's do the transformation later. Let's first graph it. So this is what you do. This is the starting point. So you start here. So right here you start. This is your vertex. This is your start or your vertex. That's known as your vertex. Let's try with the pen here. Whoops. Okay, we'll do this again. This is your vertex. Okay, a here, the number in the front, a is 1. So the number in front of the x squared is the a is 1. Our step pattern is 1, 3, 5. We don't multiply by anything because it's 1. There's nothing in the front of the x squared. Now let's go graph. And I'll use a red to graph here. Okay, so we do not start at 1. We start at 10. Start right down here at 10. Let's make that a little bit nicer here. So we take our pen here and we start at negative 10. Right down here at negative 10. Let's go back here. We start here at the negative 10. Okay. Now we go over 1, up 1, just like before, but this time we start at negative 10 and not at 0. Then we go over 1 and up 1, 2, 3. Then over 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so 1, 3, 5. 1, 3, 5, 7 is next. We can actually graph another one because we started so low. Go over 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And we put a dot here. You do the exact same thing on the other side. You put here, here. You can just match it here. And I'll match the other one. These are called symmetric points. So this point and that point symmetric. These are symmetric. The axis of symmetry is down the middle. And now let's try to do our best graph through all these points. This is the hardest part for me on the computer, is to connect all these dots. I swing around here. It's probably a lot easier for you guys. On paper, I bring it up and I put 2 arrows at the end. And then since I only have one graph on this, I don't have to label it. But just for the sake of labeling, it's y equals x squared. Usually only label if you have more than one graph on here. But y equals x squared. Other teachers may tell you to label every graph. Okay, minus 10. It's y equals x squared minus 10. Okay, there. Okay, let's go to our computers, our software online here. Let's type it in. Let's see if we got it right. Y equals x squared minus 10. Let's go take a look. Let's scroll down there. See, it starts at minus 10. Let's just zoom. So it's this is a 1. Go 1 over, 1 up. 1 over, 1, 2, 3 up. 1 over, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up. Okay, and then we just need arrows on the end. This just goes on forever and ever. Keep rolling out. It'll keep going on forever and ever. Okay, I'm going to graph the next two on the next video.